back. What's up, Meg?
Hey.
We did it. Does it feel good to be back?
Sure does.
Sure does. Another episode of the Yore podcast. Matt and Meg. Maybe we're doing some true crime. Maybe we're doing something creepy. History. You have no idea what we're doing. You're looking at the notes for the first time, and I think you were a little intrigued because we're going to dive into a chilling story that rocked North Carolina and left a pretty interesting mark, potentially even on true crime history. This is the case, Meg, of Velma Barfield, the infamous death row granny. You heard of this one?
I don't think I have.
Don't know why I keep circling back to females that are killers. But here we are. Again. We're going to go over...
That dream.
Must have been that dream that I just can't get rid of. But in today's episode, we're going to not only explore her life, we're going to talk about the details, gruesome, that are, pretty gruesome details in the case. So viewer and listener discretion is advised. We'll also talk about the lasting impact that she had on the American justice system. What do you think? Should we jump right into this?
Let's do it.
Should we do the intro?
Yep.
When?
Now.
Okay, how about now?
Okay.
For the people that are watching this on the YouTube, don't be alarmed if you look like there's maybe some blood in my mouth. Meg gave me a red candy before the show, and I was looking at her. I'm like, are you thinking in my brain, like, are you bleeding? And same with me. It's just candy. So don't be alarmed. We're all good.
Cherry sours.
Cherry sours. All right, Velma Barfield. Who is she? Let's jump into this. She was born October 29th, 1932 in South Carolina on a small tobacco farm. She was one of 9 children. She grew up in a troubled home, the daughter of an abusive father, and a mother who struggled with mental health issues. As a child, Velma exhibited troubling behavior, which many believe stemmed from her chaotic upbringing. At the age of 17, Barfield drops out of school and marries her boyfriend, Thomas Burke, in 1949. All right. And this is yes, they were in the South Carolina, but Meg, this is a new state on the Yoretown map. Guys, check it out, yoretown.com. beardlawstudio.com. We got another one off the list, North Carolina. Because, they're living a pretty ordinary life. To kind of start out with, Velma and Thomas had 2 children together and lived in Parkton, North Carolina as a family for more than 15 years. But in 1965, everything changes when Thomas Burke was involved in a serious car accident. After the accident, Thomas turned to heavy alcohol and drug use as a way to kind of cope with the intense pain and the chronic headaches that were caused by his injuries. Velma then has a hysterectomy and developed back pain, which led to a change in her behavior and also drug addiction. Then in 1969, Meg, Velma was just kind of running errands with the kids. The couple's home mysteriously catches fire, and Thomas tragically dies from smoke inhalation. Just a few months later, there was a second fire that consumed the house, burning it to the ground. It was alleged that she actually said she probably killed him because she left a lit cigarette at the foot of his bed where he lay drunk. That was something that was admitted later, or confessed, I guess, later in when she was in court or jail. Spoiler alert: she goes to jail. Yes. Then, just months after Thomas Burke's death, Velma began dating a widower named Jennings Barfield. They married in August 1970, but the marriage was short-lived. Jennings passes away on March 21st, 1971, from heart failure. Widowed, once again, a heartbroken Velma moves in with her parents in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Soon after, her father died of lung cancer. By the summer of 1974, Velma's mother begins experiencing severe stomach pains, diarrhea, vomiting, and was brought to the hospital. But then she was sent home because the symptoms, they went away. She's good to go, right? Until August of that year, a man Velma was dating was killed in a car accident. Later, 1974, December, Velma's mother, Lillian, falls ill again with severe stomach pains. She is rushed back to the hospital, but tragically passes away 2 hours after being admitted. Doctors were unable to determine the cause of the death, and no autopsy was performed. That is a lot of death, Meg.
Yeah.
For any of those keeping track at home, I mean, so the husband's gone, right? And then you got Jennings dies, they're saying, from heart failure. Then the father dies. The mother goes to the hospital, lives, but in that time, somebody that Velma was dating dies in a car accident. Then mom dies. That is a lot of death for one
Yes, it is.
family. 1975. Velma Barfield served 6 months in prison for writing several bad checks. She's released. She finds work as a home health nurse for an elderly couple, 94-year-old Montgomery Edwards and his 84-year-old wife, Dolly. 1977, January. Montgomery passes away. Just a few weeks later in February, Dolly also dies after what, Meg?
Does it have to do with stomach pains?
For any of those keeping track at home and willing to guess on this, ding, ding, ding. Also,
Getting good at this.
mysterious stomach pains. Velma was then reassigned to care for another elderly couple, John Henry and Record Lee. In June 1977, John Henry Lee dies. Doctors diagnose his death as caused by a severe stomach virus. Later that year, 1977, Velma moves in with her boyfriend, Stuart Taylor. One day, while attending a Pentecostal revival meeting in Cumberland County, North Carolina. You're not going to believe this, Meg.
What?
Old Stuart starts having some pretty severe stomach pains.
Dun, dun, dun.
There it is. He was admitted to the hospital and died within days. But they say, hey, we should probably do an autopsy. But before the results were released, Velma's sister made a tearful call to the Lumberton police claiming Velma had poisoned Taylor and others. Velma was arrested and later confessed to poisoning Montgomery and Dolly Edwards, John Henry Lee, and her mother, Lillian, using arsenic.
That was what I was going to say.
That was you were leaning that way the whole time?
I was.
Man.
This sounds familiar.
Yeah.
This way of doing it.
All right, was that a callback to another episode that we might have done with
Yes, it was.
You guys should check that out if you're into this style podcast. She admitted she had done all of this to cover up stealing money from them to support her drug addiction. Velma also confessed to poisoning Stuart Taylor, though she denied any involvement in the deaths of her previous husbands, Thomas and Jennings. December 1978, Velma Barfield was convicted of first-degree murder of Stuart Taylor. The jury found aggravating circumstances and recommended the death penalty. While on death row, Velma began this kind of new life. She becomes a born-again Christian and began ministering to fellow inmates and prison guards. She wrote letters to Governor Jim Hunt, arguing that her faith should be considered as a mitigating factor for commuting her sentence to life in prison. Her pleas garnered support from Christians across the country, including Billy and Ruth Graham. Despite this, Governor Hunt denies her request. Velma also appealed her conviction, but her legal efforts ultimately failed. November 2nd, 1984, Velma Barfield was executed by lethal injection at Central Prison in Raleigh, North Carolina, at the age of 52. She became the first woman, Meg, in the U.S. to be executed by lethal injection.
Interesting.
Yeah. Little trivia for any of you. Yep. The media frenzy surrounding her case only intensified as she became a controversial figure, a granny who had committed unspeakable acts of violence. The case of Velma Barfield raised important questions about justice and accountability. Her story has been revisited in various documentaries and books, leaving a lasting impact on the discourse surrounding crime, punishment, and mental health. So what does this case teach us about the complexities of human behavior? How do we balance compassion and justice when dealing with individuals like her? These questions, Meg, continue to challenge our understanding of morality within the legal system. Crazy, right?
It's crazy. So she was only 54?
52.
52.
Died at the age of 52. Yep.
I'd say I'd call that granny status.
Well, only because you're approaching your 50s. Slowly. But you're...
Okay.
I mean, you're a grandma when you're a grandma. So obviously her kids had kids and she's a grandma. She's a death row grandma.
Okay.
I mean, unreal. So much poisoning. So much terribleness. Shout out to our sources, newsobserver.com, Wikipedia, and exhibits.lib.unc.edu. It's a lot of letters, a lot of abbreviations, and a lot of dots. Shout out to our friends of the show, Copper John's Beard. You guys can go over to Copper John's, check it out. Use code BeardLaw, save yourself some money. Check out the Beard Law Studio. Got all the stuff from the Yore Town, all the other shows, and all the good stuff. Vermont flannel, I'm rocking a lightweight one, probably for the last couple of weeks, because it's going to start getting cold where we are, and I'm going to be wearing the much warmer, comfier Vermont flannels. Check them out. You guys can use code BeardLaws24, and make sure you definitely check out one of Meg's favorite sponsors of the show ever, Yellow Leaf Hammock, and a Vista portable hammock with not only 1 but 2 miles of thread on that thing.
So good.
Man, I'm going to tell you right now, the kids are on the porch utilizing this as well, relaxing, getting ready for school and all that good stuff tomorrow. So, yeah, that was, what'd you think of that one?
That's a good one.
Yeah, you want to read the quote?
Sure.
Hit it.
I believe that people would be alive today if there were a death penalty. Nancy Reagan.
That's what she said. It's a quote. Wow. Either way, that's all we got. I think we should come back next week. Same time, same place, Meg?
Sure thing.
Another one off the list. I was going to bring it up real quick. So if anybody does care, how many states we've done? North Carolina, off the list. This was episode 78, Meg. Can you believe it?
Wow.
78 times we've gotten in this mic and chatted about some stuff. What do you want to do next week? You want to still do some more poisoning, some true crime, mix it up with some creepy? It is creepy season. This is the last episode in September. So somebody get a hold of Billy Joe. Wake him up, because September's ending. And then we're going to have 4 weeks of creepy. So let's try to find some creepy, maybe.
Okay.
Do some stuff and some things on maybe some Halloween and stuff like that. But yeah, we have 14 states to go. Arkansas, Delaware, Hawaii, Iowa, Kentucky, Mississippi, Montana, Nebraska, New Mexico, North Dakota, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Vermont. Where you at? Let's hear the creepiest stories from any of these 14 states for the next 4 weeks. What do you think?
Sounds good.
I think that's a wrap. Want to get out of here?
Let's do it.
All right. Until next week. See you later. Your Townians will be back. Okay, bye.
Goodbye.